one of the things that I've been repeatedly upset with recently is the villainization of law enforcement. In fact, just today, as federal agencies were in Chicago trying to arrest people that had committed crimes that were here illegally, the governor of Illinois said that those federal agents were waging war on his people. And in fact, the mayor of Chicago said that, and I quote, "law enforcement is a sickness." When all these people that have signed up for these jobs are trying to do is protect others. I believe it takes a really special, selfless, brave individual to say, I'm going to put my life, my safety behind others, and I'm going to dedicate my life to that, to protecting communities. That means a lot to me, and I believe that that is why this country is one of the greatest countries on earth, because we have people like you willing to sign up for these roles and enforce the law when we, the people, have come up with the law. So thank you. I'll just stay along that topic for a moment. Having been a federal prosecutor that worked very closely with federal agencies, including the DEA, having been a wife of a DEA agent and a law enforcement officer, I have some simple questions just to follow up along that line so the American people aren't misled. In fact, in many instances, especially within the DEA ranks, many of our drug traffickers and others who came into the country that went on to coordinate with cartels and other foreign nations, many are here illegally. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And so with an administration that comes in and takes a look at the resources it has, both financially and with manpower, and decides to shift responsibilities, where if you were to encounter someone that was trafficking drugs within the United States, would this administration now say that person needs to be deported?
Ma'am, it could go both ways. We could prosecute them first for the drug trafficking, depending on the level of narcotics that they're in possession with, their criminal history.
But in many instances, they could be simply deported back to their home country so they couldn't continue to sell drugs within a community.
Yes, ma'am, that does
So
happen.
isn't it true that this administration has shifted resources in many respects? Some of the international water operations have been amplified and assisted by the military now. And in many instances, not just the DEA, but others are helping with those here illegally that are committing crimes, such as in Chicago right now, where they've surged resources to go after those here illegally with crimes, that have committed crimes, right?
Ma'am, as the Washington Division SAC, I really don't want to speak to Chicago because that's a different division.
All right, well, let me talk to you about Washington.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
In Washington, it made perfect sense for the federal agents to assist in going after those that were here illegally that had criminal histories, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in your experience, those that are living here and have had to live in an environment high in crime with no one taking that seriously, were welcoming those efforts, correct?
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I've been out since August 7th numerous times with people on the streets with the task force, and I can tell you from firsthand, I've probably gotten more thank yous for being out on the street than anything else. I've also received numerous letters as well as verbal accolades for the DEA agents helping Metropolitan PD. Several of these letters that these officers have sent have been very nicely written, thanking us, and their main concern is when we leave. But as I've said, we've always been partnered with Metro PD, and we'll never leave
let me start, and I meant to start this way, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that shifting resources when you have an administration that's coming in and wanting to prioritize and get back to mission of protecting communities, that is something that is done repeatedly as administrations change and priorities change, and there could very well be a lot of crossover in those missions, correct?
Yes, ma'am, and I would also
And I just want to make sure that I'm staying on time here, so let me start by saying thank you to you both for embarking on lifelong careers of law enforcement service. I believe it takes a really special, selfless, brave individual to say, I'm going to put my life, my safety behind others, and I'm going to dedicate my life to that, to protecting communities. That means a lot to me, and I believe that that is why this country is one of the greatest countries on earth, because we have people like you willing to sign up for these roles and enforce the law when we, the people, have come up with the law. So thank you. One of the things that I've been repeatedly upset with recently is the villainization of law enforcement. In fact, just today, as federal agencies were in Chicago trying to arrest people that had committed crimes that were here illegally, the governor of Illinois said that those federal agents were waging war on his people. And in fact, the mayor of Chicago said that, and I quote, law enforcement is a sickness. When all these people that have signed up for these jobs are trying to do is protect others. Here in D.C., you had an attorney general when there was carjacking epidemic, and trying to explain why he couldn't protect or do anything about it, said that you can't arrest your way out of this situation. Do you believe that you can protect a community, Mr. Marquetos, by arresting violent criminals and those to seek to do others harm?
Senator, thank you for that question. Absolutely. No question about it.
And do you believe that the rhetoric that has been put forth by so many Democratic leaders around this nation is having an effect on the morale and the job of those like Mr. Gomez and other law enforcement officials around the country?
Senator, the beauty of the U.S. Marshal Service is that we are a non-political organization. We are career law enforcement officials that want to make a difference and safeguard our communities.
And do you believe that they will press on and protect the American people despite all of these statements that I would say incite violence against law enforcement?
Again, Senator, I think with the U.S. Marshal Service uniquely placed in government, with our primary responsibility being the protection of our federal judiciary, the U.S. Marshal Service stands side by side with our state, federal, local law enforcement partners to make a difference and make an impact on violent crime.
I want to thank our witnesses. I know appearing in front of a Senate Judiciary Committee is not an easy thing. I know it takes a lot of preparation and a lot of communication with your agencies, but we appreciate you making the time to be here. Again, I will end as we should have all begun. Thank you for signing up for these jobs. Thank you for not just becoming officers, but for volunteering to lead them, because I know that is another task all in of itself, and keeping up morale these days. I want to thank the Judiciary Committee staff for coming up with and preparing for this hearing. I know that the question of function of our agencies right now is a really important one for us to discuss, especially when we have areas, states, and cities where you might have a mayor, a governor, a city council, none of which are supporting those basic functions that protect the community, when it's necessary to have people come in and step into the breach and take up that cause of protecting vulnerable people and victims of crime. So thank you. This was a very important hearing. Thank you to the staff.